I got a song filled with shit for the strong-willed. When the world gives you a raw deal, set you off till you scream.
What's going on, everyone? My name is Ron. And today we're going to be reviewing Venom, There Be Carnage. Alright, so I'm not going to lie, I did enjoy the first film. I thought it was fun, but mostly because of Eddie and Venom. Just the interaction between the two characters just made them the best part of the whole film and just made it worth watching. So, and when they revealed that, Clea's Cassidy was going to be in the sequel that they were going to do, I thought, okay, this is cool, this is awesome, we're gonna get Carnage. And when they showed the trailer for it, I'm like, yes, this is what I've been waiting for a long time. Now, the first time I ever watched Venom and Carnage was through the 90s Spider-Man the Animated Series. And ever since then, I've been reading the comics, I've been looking up information about these two characters, and I've been waiting to see these two on the big screen. We're finally gonna get it. And originally, I thought this was going to be rated R, at least that's what I was told, but then I found out that the film was going to be PG-13, so that left me a little bit bummed out, but I still went to go see the film. I ended up watching it, and yeah, I still don't get it. Why was this PG-13? The plot takes place a few years after the last film, where we see Eddie and Venom are vigilantes, are out protecting the innocent from criminals, but Eddie has made it clear to Venom, you're not allowed to eat any people, which ends up angering Venom because he wants to eat people, but Eddie doesn't want to do that because he's a good guy and feels like devouring people is something a criminal would do, or at least a psychopathic bad guy would do, which ends up causing a strain between the two characters. All the while, Eddie's trying to become a reporter again and ends up working on a story on Cletus Cassidy, a serial killer that's on death row. So, like from the trailer, we see how Carnage is born, and that's after biting Eddie, and that causes some of the Venom symbiote to go inside of Cassidy, which gives birth to Carnage, and they end up escaping. So now it's up to Eddie and Venom to work together to stop Carnage before more innocent lives are lost. So, that's the plot of the film, without going to further spoiler territory, and I have to say, it sounds pretty simple, right? You work to build up towards the big epic fight between the two characters, you want to see them going at it, but unfortunately, all of that doesn't happen until the third act, when we finally have the two of them fighting against one another. But in the meantime, the first two acts were a bit of a disappointment. The first act was fine in the beginning, but then when we came the bickering between Eddie and Venom, it just gets boring, and it really is a shame. And once we get to the second act, it does pick up the pace a little bit when we get to Carnage, but then it just goes back down to slowing down when we get back to Eddie and Venom. Just the strain of relationship just getting very boring. I felt like you didn't need to do that. So yeah, I was really disappointed because I really was hoping they would do a better job building up to the big fight between Eddie and Venom against Carnage. But no, we didn't get that at all, and it was a shame. Once we get to the third act, it does pay off when we get these two fighting against one another, which is good. But I just felt like you could have done a better job getting there. And the way they end the fight and how it all ends could have been done a little better. The post-credit was actually worth watching, though, because it does set up, what's going to happen next. But yeah, I really wish this was done a little better. So yeah, the plot's a major flaw. Really is mostly the two characters just having a bad relationship between one another, and then eventually they have to work together to fight this bad guy, and that's it. So yeah, the two acts are pretty much the flaw with the film. It slows down while not doing enough to keep the interest of those that are watching. Alright, so as far as the characters are concerned, I did like, Eddie and Venom in the first film. I thought the interaction between the two was good. It was funny to see these two just going back and forth with their banter. And here we do get some more banter between the two characters. I get a few chuckles from some of the stuff they do, but I do hate how they made Venom a little bit grouchy here, and Eddie trying to prevent him from eating. Like, dude, just let him do what he wants. You had no problem killing that guy in the last film, so what's the problem here now? So yeah, it's just I don't get it. It's really disappointing to see these two characters that I liked in the first film not as good in this one. Woody Harrelson as Cassidy and Carnage, I thought was actually not bad, and I like the interaction he had with Tom Hardy as well. This two seemed to work off well one another, but it's a shame that, you know, with the rating of the film, we didn't get to see Carnage doing, you know, what he does best, going full maximum Carnage. Everyone else here was fine. Some were kind of forgettable, especially the former love interest of Eddie, who I felt wasn't really needed here. I mean, Naomi Harris as Shriek was okay too, but I felt like she wasn't needed in this film either. Nor that I feel any need or interest to have her having no sort of connection with Cassidy. I don't think that was needed either. So yeah, the only flaw that I did have with here was Eddie and Venom. They weren't as good as they were in the first film, while enjoying Woody's performance. And yeah, just the interaction between him and Tom were actually good, but yeah, just kind of a bit of letdown between our two main characters. Alright, so the special effects for this film I thought were actually not that bad. I did enjoy the fight between Venom and Carnage, which was a lot better than the first fight with Venom and Riot. And you could also tell which is who. Also, it was cool to see Carnage causing a lot of destruction while also using the same abilities. Well, some of those abilities we see in the comics used here. I thought that was actually pretty cool. I just hate how this film was PG-13, so we didn't get to see him going pretty much all crazy and just destructive like we would see in a Deadpool film. Here we don't get that. And again, you didn't have to make the rating PG-13. You could have made it rated R, but you didn't do that, and I felt like that was what hurt this film a lot. The settings where they shot the film also looked pretty good too, especially where the final battle took place. I especially love how they showed Carnage being born, and the design for Carnage actually looks pretty good too. And I kind of did wish Venom's like appearance would look a little bit better. I don't know. I guess I really miss that spider symbol in the middle of his chest, but it's still not that bad. And again, we could tell who is who when they finally do have their big fight. As for the music, it was fine, while also finding some of the humor here fine too. But I did feel like the rating kept this movie from being anything more than just the first film and not being what the fans really were hoping for. Okay, so Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Is it a bad sequel? No, it's actually not a bad sequel, but it does feel a bit of a letdown because we didn't get to see, you know, what we were hoping for. Because if this was rated R, it would have been fun, it would have been exciting, would have been awesome. So I think that definitely hurt the film. It hurt the story. The plot was pretty much boring. Nothing, you know, was interesting until we got to the final act. And it wasn't, you know, for very long. The characters were fine, but I did enjoy Woody's performance more, while finding Eddie and Venom just not as good as in the first film. Everything else was fine, but it could have been more if they had just took the gamble to make this film as crazy as the fans wanted it, and it would have been worth it. So, is it worth watching? I suppose, but mostly for the Carnage stuff, the third act, but honestly, that's pretty much it. That's the only thing I would watch from the whole film. Because everything else I would just end up skipping over. So, yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. If you have a different opinion about this film and what you think of the last one, leave some comments below. Let me know what you think. Hit the subscribe button. Check out my Facebook page. Check out my Twitter page. Check out T3 Media's channel. Subscribe to their channel. Keep the day with the videos. And I'll see you next time to give you more love and more entertainment. Until then, guys, take care. Be safe. Love y'all. And goodbye.